Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome here to the Matchday -1 press conference for Team Spain. We welcome on stage Coach Luis de la Fuente, and we're happy to start with the first question over there.
Pues nada, muchas gracias. José Feliz Díaz.
Hi, thank you. Luis, a beautiful scenario, grand scenario. Spain is here for their own credit, and they're not inferior to France. Do you think the same? Good evening. Yes, I think exactly the same as you. I think this is a fantastic opportunity. We've earned it after a lot of work. We've done everything that needed to be done in order to achieve this. But the previous analysis is the same as we did against Germany. This could be another final of the Euros. You know, we've done so much work. It's a maximum equality. Both teams are super level. Everything will be decided on little details. Both teams are going to make very little mistakes. We will see how the game goes, but we will try to be true to ourselves with all the strengths that have brought us this far. Deschamps was asked before about how boring the French game could be, and he said, well, you might just as well watch something else. So enjoyment or the pleasure of watching a football game is something that you may bear in mind in order to prepare a tournament, a championship. Is it important for you? How to entertain the viewers? Well, in principle, what you try to do is to prepare a game plan that will help you win. Of course, you have an idea. You know, if we talk about the show or whatever, we are talking about a model, an idea, and maybe our idea is closer to a nice show, a nice spectacle, if we do it right. But yeah, in that respect, I think we are a nice team to watch. But in the end, it's about winning, and even more so at this stage. We try to play nice football, but we want to play practical football too, because what you will analyze later and assess later is the results. We try to achieve our results through a particular way. Of course, you know, we need to value the journey, but the important thing in the end, at this stage, of course, almost always, but it's important is to win. After the game against Georgia, you said that you had the best national team or the best players. When you played Germany, then you said you were not superior to Germany. So whatever happens tomorrow, do you think we still have the best team in the Euros? If you just want me to say that we didn't win with the best team or something like that, it's just a super easy analysis from you. I think you're much more intelligent than that, than asking me that sort of question. What I mean is, for me, no matter what the result is, this team, in principle, is the best. Right, but in front of us, we are facing a terrific opponent, a national team that is as good as ours. But if you want a headline, this is what I think. I thought about that before, and I will think the same way when we leave. Deschamps has been asked if Deschamps is a boring team. Do you think French are playing boring football? France is a boring team to watch? Well, I'm not here to value it. What we value, we assess here is the team's potential, and I think their potential is fantastic. They have world-class players with a fantastic team play, team effort. Getting bored or not, well, you know, people have fun with whatever they want to have fun with. I always enjoy football. I always have fun watching football, especially a great national team like the French. Has the team been recovered physically? You have 3 casualties, but do you think physically they will be able to compete a French team that could be the most powerful in the whole tournament? Well, we are recovering our players well. It's only a few days. We had to travel. There's tension, of course. There's stress. That doesn't help very much with total recovery, but that's the inconvenience that we have for teams that are at this stage of the competition, of course. You know, the players have a certain habits that help them recover, you know, in a shorter period of time. But yeah, we will see how we're feeling physically tomorrow. As for the motivation they will have when they come on the pitch, they will help them overcome anything, right? Physically, we will see how the game develops, and of course, the footballers will need to overcome certain moments physically, and I think we are ready to play this game. France, I think they're physically very strong, one of the strongest in the tournament. We know they play really well, but of course we have a lot of experience after playing with them for quite a while, and we know how to play them. And we have other strengths, other virtues, and we will try to impose our game plan as opposed to their physique, their powerful physique, of course. 3 years ago, France and Spain faced each other at the Nations League final. And some of the players you know really well. What has changed in these 3 years? What have you learned, and how have you improved? The Spain or French, or the French team, if you like. Well, we are a team. We are a different team, a new team. There is a different national coach. We have different ideas, not better, no worse, just different, and we like to apply them. Our journey is clear, our way was clear, our style was clear, slightly different to the previous one, trying to play on the strengths of the previous national team, and we wanted to give it a little twist, and I think we managed that, especially having players who allow us to have different registers to what we showed before. It's not better, it's not worse. It's just different visions of football. Of course, we would have different visions of football, you and I, but both of us, the objective for both of us will always be to get the best performance out of our players, and that is what we are trying to do. I don't know if we are that different or not. We are what we are now, and we will try to be even better than we are today. Yesterday, during an interview, they made you decide between Kylian Mbappé and Nico Williams, and of course you chose Nico. And after that, I'd like to ask you that you think that Nico is a better player than Kylian Mbappé. Well, they are two great footballers. You know, I'll have to reply in the same light as my reply to your partner, to your colleague. To me, my footballers are the best. Of course, Kylian Mbappé, it's a world-class player. He's exceptional, together with other French players. But please allow me to say that my players, for me, they are the best. I've been looking at the statistics, and since we have statistics for the last 24 years, no Spanish national team has dribbled so much as this national team and taken their man on. Has it got to do with the taste of the national coach? If you're more convinced about playing wide, playing with wingers, or does it have to do with the raw materials that we didn't have? Two wingers now, like the ones we have now. Well, I think both concepts are intertwined. Of course, you need raw material. You need the players to allow you to play in a particular way. Of course, when you prepare a game plan, you need to take the strengths of your players into mind in order to create your system. And of course, we try to maximize the potential of our players on the pitch. We have very fast footballers who are able to play very wide, to play 2 against 1, etc. But also, apart from that, we are also want to play in a different way to try to finalize all the plays, etc. With players coming on the second line, etc. And so that's what we try to work on with the players we have. So they have certain characteristics, but we want them to finalize the plays, etc. We have slightly different way of playing, and we try to generate as many goal chances as we can, of course. And up until now, we haven't seen the great Kylian Mbappé. In different moments after because of this injury, wearing this mask, etc. Deschamps said it's kind of physically he's not quite 100%. I don't know if you're worried that Mbappe may appear in such an important game, and if you are going to see anything specific, different, counting on the casualties that your team has for Mbappe. Well, this kind of footballer are unpredictable. You never know when they are going to appear. They never disappear completely. Their level could be slightly lower than his usual level, but Kylian Mbappe doing a 50% could be 100% of any other player. So, a player like this, they can just play, they can decide a game at any particular moment. He's a genius, he's a super world-class player. As well as other French players, of course, they have an exceptional national team. What we are going to try to do is, knowing their potential, we will try to minimize their virtues, their strengths, their capabilities, their abilities on the pitch. We are ready to do that. We have the tools and the players to do that, no matter which players are on the pitch for Spain. And I trust our potential. And I hope I trust we will be able to counteract what they do. I have blind faith on our team, on the national team, on my team. Please allow me to say it that way. I have blind faith on them, and I think we are ready to win tomorrow. To win a very complicated game, very tough game that, once again, it's just a final. Feels like a final. You said in the last few hours, or Alvaro Morata said in the last few hours, that he might leave the national team because nobody respects anyone in Spain. Do you think that's not quite the right time to say something like that ahead of such an important game? And I don't know if he's trying to convince you so that this is not his last tournament with Spain. Well, Elena, you know my position with Morata. We absolutely agree in what he says, that it's really unfair, the treatment for Morata, for a start and a reference for national football, for our captain, who is Alvaro Morata, who sets an example in everything. And they did respect him many times in Spain. I don't read the news, but if you say that people are saying that sort of thing about Morata, I totally disagree with them. And well, my position is clear. I clearly respect what Morata just said, his attitude as a footballer and as a person. I will take Morata's side anytime. The other day, on the pre-match press conference against Germany, it was Nagelsmann and then Rabiot. They kind of challenged Lamine Yamal. How do you think that this young player like Lamine Yamal, how can you protect him? Both Nagelsmann, I said that both Nagelsmann and Rabiot challenged Yamal, like defied him. How can you protect the young players in the Spanish national team? Well, that's part of football. It's part of the game. football has arguments, they're purely footballistic arguments, or has a purely footballing side of things, but there are other tools that have always been used. And of course, the referee always has to be there in order to make them kind of protect him in a way, and so don't let anyone cross any red lines. But still, he has to be himself, and he has to be experienced enough to know that this is what football is like. But you, of course, you have to explain a 16-year-old kid that maybe if he's not ready to see that reality of this other football, that he needs to see that this is a reality, of course. But the thing is, with his youth, given how young he is, he understands and he learns everything so fast, and he's able to learn really fast. But he has to know that as players, other rival players get to know him, they are going to allow him less and less space. But provided that they don't go over that red line, it will be okay. And then the referee is also there to try and protect our players and every player. I wanted to ask you if you think that a game between these two very offensive teams, with Dembélé, Griezmann, Mbappe with France, and Nico, Morata, and Lamine, and in the Spanish national team, if this kind of games, do you foresee that you could reach extra time, or do you think it's an all-out attacking kind of match? Well, we don't know what the result is going to be, but we don't like the ebb and flow kind of game, like a very fast-paced kind of crazy game. We are a team that is ready or prepared to take control of the ball and keep control of the ball. Well, yes, we can transition, of course, but we're not interested in that really fast football. I don't think we're going to see very different styles, footballing styles. France is very comfortable without the ball, and they will try to make the most of the spaces that their opponents leave. So we will try to be very aware of something like that and counter-attacks, and be very aware of losing the ball in a dangerous position or situation. So I think that could be one of the keys for this match. But of course, I lived through situations with France. I think we've played with France so many times and have seen all sorts of results. So it's a very open game, very equal game. I wanted to ask you about something, a personal question. After reaching this moment in the Euros, your first great tournament with the senior national team, how have you been able to enjoy that? How do you find support in your closer circle? How does Luis de la Fuente see a tournament like this as a person? Well, fortunately, I have very solid support. I have all these people around me. I have a fantastic technical staff, my players who are all an example for me. All the members of this family that we say so many times, that we are part of a family, and we are able to overcome any situation. If you ask me how have I lived this, I've enjoyed so much. Today, 8th of July, we are exactly where we wanted to be when we started planning this. You know, so on the 8th of July, where did we want to be? We wanted to be in Munich preparing the semi-final. So we are exactly where we wanted to be. And I can only say we are very happy, very satisfied. But with this ambition on the side, sporting ambition, and that we want more. That's the issue. We want to reach the final against a great opponent, but we are going to do everything in our hands in order to try to reach the final. But no matter what happens tomorrow, we will be very happy. I will be very happy, at least, because I've seen the growth in my team, the commitment, everything, the way they have learned, and I know that if not this time, it will be some other time in the future. But if we keep on like this, we will have the opportunity to achieve something.
A general question about your opinion on overtime. There are some critical voices which say you could cancel the overtime and go directly to the penalty shootout because the overtime is really exhausting for everyone. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, maybe in a certain stage of such a demanding tournament like a Euro, maybe I think that we could get rid of overtime. Maybe not in a semi-final or a final, but maybe in the previous stage, perhaps. There are many minutes, many games at the time of the season in which many players have reached, the kind of the limits almost of the physical resistance, and that would help actually the show because the players would be much fresher. And they would reach the most interesting stage, which are, of course, the semi-finals and finals in a much fresher state.
Muchísimas gracias. And we will now continue with player Rodrigo.